Alright. Alright, I want to pull up this list. And maybe we can kind of like narrow down like who we think could possibly be the final 3 characters, aside from final 2, sorry, because Pekara's, I keep repeating it, Pekara is guaranteed. Alright, bear with me here. Well, I know who I'm maining. I love Pekara. Hey, okay. Happy Nosagi. For the bunny princess to come. This show, yes again! Fantastic. Alright. Yeah, it's in a document. Ignore that, don't worry. So our current characters, these are current characters: Korone, Fubuki, Ayame, Sora, Botan, Sise, Aki, and Coco, and I've noted that she's a graduate. So I've noted that in particular because it's interesting that they would bring a graduate into a game, for sure. Into this fan game, because initially no one would have anticipated that they would bring Coco back because she's no longer part of Hololive. So to have a graduate is incredible, and it opens up the door per se to more people. Even though there's not that many graduates, the other graduate being Sana, and if you could still kind of call it, even Rushia, even though she was terminated for breaking her contract and stuff, but that's still in the same sense that could still be considered to be part of the list for consideration, because Coco is a graduate, meaning that there's no boundaries. There doesn't seem to be any like sort of boundary in that part. She was probably part of the Hololive when the game was made 2 years ago. This game began development. Idol Showdown began development 2 years ago. In those 2 years... Actually, when did Coco graduate, actually? July to... Oh, no, that's the wrong one. July 1st... When was this? 2021? 2021. So... Yeah, that's around... That's still within the time frame, honestly. When she was still around. Heck, maybe even this was like the catalyst, but I won't talk as if I know for sure. But I still think the thing stands that it just means that graduates are not off the board. Our current assist is Mio, Marin, Karata, Iroha, Ritsu, Kiara, Ame, Roboco, Miko. Obviously this list is gonna expand just like the current characters, because I don't think it would be necessarily fair if only the playable characters list evolved and not the assists as well. In fact, the assists more likely than not is gonna grow quicker than the character list, because assists are much easier to make than playable characters. So more members are definitely gonna be added to this list. Alright, so Hololive talent, cosplay, and color references, according to what I saw on a user profile by Red Valentine 99. Here we go. I found it. So this is according to someone's list, so I decided to just simply take them into account. Okay. So for Korone, I only listed the members, although some extras as well, which I will point out. So for Korone, we have Okayu, Miko, and Ritsu. Ritsu is an assist, Miko is also an assist, Okayu is just a color. Again, doesn't necessarily roll them out, I don't think, to be a possible character, but considering that 2 of these are already an assist, it's kind of safer to assume that these 2 are not going to be picked to be playable characters. So that leaves Okayu a more likely choice. Maybe. And then we just have an extra costume of Korone. That's nothing much. No way Sonic or Bison would make it in. That would be funny though, but that's cool references that they would reference to things that Korone is pretty passionate about. Alright, so for Botan, you have Lami, Nene, Poruka, Aeoli, who's also a graduate, but technically didn't get the chance to properly like debut, so but just call her graduate as well. Also, there's a BlazBlue reference here, Unicorn. her sixth, both on 6 colors meant to be Noelle. And people say this isn't meant to be Dante. I do understand it sort of being like that, but it's supposed to be a reference to her her kimono, I believe, or kimono outfit. Like it has a similar color palette and everything, but I can't confirm that. And yeah, sorry Arjun, I forgot to see your message. More assists, more strats too. Yeah, exactly. It just furthers the strat game. Similar with Coco, Aeole, I don't know if there's any surviving like streams, if anyone went as far as to save any streams for possible voice lines. So I can kind of comfortably say that I don't think Aeole would be an ample choice to include. It would be great. I just don't think it's gonna happen because it happened way too far back in the Hololive timeline for the devs to have access to streams to turn into voice lines to make her a playable character. So I don't think that's gonna happen. Lami, Nene, and Poruka. None of these are assists, so there's a better chance that these 3 could turn into a playable character. So that's pretty nice. I could definitely see Lami being one because she's like all about ice. She's an ice elf after all, so that'd be pretty cool. Poruka being like sort of random per se, and a whole circus theme could be an interesting character. And Nene, well, Nene, husbandos. That's fine. Can't really go any further than that. I'm sorry. Ayame. So Ayame here. We have Subaru, Iroha, Aqua, and Shiron. And this third one here I've listed apparently is Nana Kagura, which is actually Ayame's mama / designer, which I don't think is gonna be a character. That would be very interesting, not gonna lie, but I don't think that would be a very ample choice, or heck, even a likely choice to be a playable character in Hololive, because she's not technically part of Hololive. Iroha is the only assist character currently, so we could sort of like push her aside a bit more, versus the other 3 being Subaru, Aqua, and Sion. Each have their own references in Virtual Frontier, even in items as well, but I think the items are just very minor references, so I don't think they necessarily rule out a character entirely. Also, the biking color is pretty cool as well. But yeah, these 3 have ample chance because they're only just color references instead of being an actual character. Or they could also just be assists as well. They could be feature assists, which that could be also interesting as well. All right, Sora. So Sora has Asuki, Iofi, and Iofi, and then also this person I didn't actually recognize initially, but after looking to it a little bit, is meant to be Tsukino Mito from Nikke Sanji, the first generation. Again, similar to Ayame's mama / designer. Would be an interesting pick, but she's not part of Hololive, so that's a safe rule out. So that's not gonna happen. Also, there's the original colors of the original Sora design, and also a Halloween Sora version. They're just colors, nothing more, nothing less. But Atsuki, Iofi, both of these are not assists, so there's ample room for them to be characters. I still have a slight suspicion that Atsuki could be a playable character in the future, because I still reason that you don't make character portrait art, like full body character portrait art, just for one piece of content. So Atsuki's the face of Virtual Frontier, and there's like a working model and stuff as well in Virtual Frontier. By working model I mean like there's a portrait shot and everything. Fingers crossed. I still sort of think that Atsuki is up for choice, because that'd be really cool, and not just be forever bound to Virtual Frontier. That's just my personal preference. I'm going to suspect it's more going to be assists, but who knows? There's still ample room for them to be possibly characters. Alright, we have Coco this time. So we have Kanata, Hato, Akai Hato. I like how it's Kiryu, which makes sense. Kiryu Coco. Coco Kane, which is like a parody version of Coco, which is funny. And another interesting point, Project Melody for Color Display 5 and Potemkin, because Grappler. But interesting that they do a Project Melody reference who's from V's Shoujo. So that's not obviously that's not gonna happen, but it's still pretty cool that they reference Melody here. Okay, Karata, she's already an assist. She has the waves and the full screen grapple, which only leaves Hato, which could make an interesting like duality character, where she could be like a stance character, just to like randomly speculate, where she could switch between Akai Hato and Hachama, and you switch between the two, like one's for offense, one's for defense, and all that. That'd be really, really cool, kind of like stance switching, and it would be an interesting character. But she could be an assist as well. But hey, you never know. You never know. All right, we have Aki now. So Aki has Matsuri, Luna, Roboco, Mel, and Mel. And there's just a extra costume design for her. And also Oregon. Sorry if I butchered the name. So yeah, Roboco. Roboco is the only assist character here. But hey, still could be playable character. So that leaves Matsuri, Mel, and Luna as possible characters and or feature assists. Realistically, from the three, I probably would say Luna, weirdly enough. Because, I mean, no offense, a vampire would be cool, but it's just a vampire character. Well, it could be cute. Like, no, don't get me wrong. It'd be cute to see a Mel fight and have some interesting references to show off in our moveset or arts and assist. Same with Matsuri. I think I see her more as an assist rather than a playable character, but that could obviously change. So that only kind of sort of leaves Luna, because I can sort of imagine like maybe like a true puppeteer character where she could control like a Luck Knight, which is like her followers. She gets to control like one Luck Knight and move separately from her own and do some cool stuff. Versus Aki, who has like a stand who gets called in according to her moves. Luna could be maybe like a true puppeteer character, but who knows? Just pure speculation. Alright, we have Suise now. It only has Towa and Mume. The rest being some from Melty Blood, Anemachi, which is Suise's actual sister, but just given form through an avatar. An alternative costume color for Suise. And here, another interesting point, Inui Toko from Nichi Sanji. Again, safe rollout, was outside of Hololive, but an interesting reference nonetheless. Now, Mume is a vendor in Virtual Frontier, but again, it doesn't necessarily rule her out as being a possible character and stuff. So there's still a good chance that she could be considered to be a playable character in the future. That would be cool. An English represent, that'd be very nice. Towa is I see her more of an assist, but it would be nice if she was a playable character as well. But I definitely see her more so as an assist character with like singing or some sort of like protection, or maybe like a buff that you can activate as an assist. Who knows? Okay, final character Fubuki. All references being Mio, Flare, and Watame, and Olga from Holo Stars. It would be cool if we could get Holo Stars dude to represent as one of the characters, but I don't think it will sit particularly well, considering that the rest of the cast is all females and from Hololive and not Holo Stars. So as sad as it is, I don't think they'll consider Olga being a possible character to play. So that's probably a safe rollout. Maybe assists? But that's sort of pushing it, honestly. because again, all these assists are Hololive letters and not Holostars. Not one of them are from Holostars, so safe assumption that Olga can be safely crossed out. Then we have an alternative costume for Fubuki. And the only assist character in this list is Mio, and as much as I would like Mio to be a playable character, if they're rated an assist, more likely than not, they're not going to be chosen to be a playable character. So sadly, Mio is probably off the table, but you never know. Flare and Watame. Flare could be interesting because Flare in alternative videos, animations, Flare was seen using a bow. So it could be interesting to have like a bow character. And maybe how she could fight with both fire and some other means and stuff. That'd be pretty cool. And Watame, well, it's Watame, so very cheap. She could technically sort of maybe even be the joke character per se of Hololive, but I still think she might be an assist as well. You never know. But yeah, that's all the color references. Okay. Alright, other notable forms of references in Idol Showdown, as I've listed. Mume, Oli, Rene, Amir, Roberto, and Tempest are some pretty notable things. Mume we already discussed. She's a vendor. Oli is the collector that you could choose in the collection options. Rene is part of the rest stop. Ame is a vendor and also a challenger. But Ame is already an assist character. Roberto being a vendor, but again, same with like Olga, All Stars probably might not make it in, more likely than not, as a playable character and as an assist, sadly. But hey, you don't know, we may never know. And same with the Tempest guys, they're all starting items in Virtual Frontier. Altair being the armor protection, Magni being the gloves that gives auto combos, Axel being the hard difficulty selector, where you get more rewards but the difficulty spikes up, and then Vesper having the plastic ball and keeping the difficulty at medium per se. That's a notable reference. And again, I don't, same with like the other Holostars boys, I don't think it's necessarily an indication that they'll get in. Alright, and finally we have unmentioned or minor references to my knowledge. I could have missed some. Feel free to chime in if I've happened to miss any. I don't remember if there's anything with Choco Sensei other than a random event. But outside of that, I don't know if there's even an item reference to her. So, because they're a minor reference, I feel like their chances are gonna be a bit better, per se. But again, I wouldn't hold my breath in that regard, because it really is ultimately up in the air, through and through. Now this is a personal pick, because I think Noelle would be a fantastic pick to have as a playable character, because Noelle's a knight. She's a knight through and through, and it'd be cool to have like a fantasy kind of like character being played in a 2D fighter. And Noelle basically fits that bill, because it'd be interesting. I'm sure you could do some pretty interesting things with Noelle. The fact that she's like absurdly strong, she threw Coco in alternative and is able to block it and stuff, and match like Coco's, despite how giant Coco is in her dragon form. You can match her strength, and she has a maze, and I imagine they would just pair up with a shield as well. That'd be pretty cool. Like, I think there could be some pretty valid material for Noelle to be a possible character, playable character for that matter. But if she's ultimately an assist, then hey, that's great. That's still great. She gets representation. All right, Harushia. Technically not a graduate. She was terminated after all, but there is still references of her in the stages, like the Broadway stage. Sometimes there's a poster of Harushia in an outlining, And just like Coco, she is technically no longer part of the roster, but she still was Hololive, so that can still bring her to a possible point of being selected as a character. Because that would be great for I forget what Rushia's fan base was called, but that would be like pretty cool. I might even have the similar hype that Coco had, because it was such an unexpected pick. And I don't know, I think it could make Russia work as a character, having like a small knife. He's like a yandere running around with a knife, chopping up. But yeah, who knows. Holo X, so Laplace, Louis, Coyote, and Chloe. Now, Laplace has been referenced. She's in a random event, as we saw earlier today as well. Louis has an item reference in Virtual Frontier. Again, doesn't necessarily rule her out. Coyote is a part of a random event, and Iroha is already an assist. That's already given. Now, Chloe has an item reference, yes, as well, but to be completely honest, I feel like Chloe would be an interesting pick out of the rest of the Holo X to be playable characters. Will they be assist? I mean, maybe. I still think she would be an interesting choice for being a playable character, because she is meant to be the cleaner of Holo X, aka the assassin. Good morning. The assassin of Holo X. So it would be interesting for her to have like an interesting like sort of kit, like hidden, like, because she would be a fighter, because again, cleaning business, air quotes, cleaning business. So she could definitely put up a fight, but you could have like an interesting like hidden dagger like sort of move set and stuff. I think that'd be pretty cool, honestly. But yeah, I think Chloe might have a good shot at being a playable character, because there's enough intrigue and maybe even material to make her as a playable character. So like Ibuki? Oh, Ibuki from Street Fighter. Okay, like kind of like that, with like kunai and stuff, throwing kunai and setting up like bombs and stuff. Okay, I mean that could work. Heck, it could even be a color reference, even if Chloe became like a fighter. But yeah, similar in principle and maybe even design, character design. Muna. To my knowledge, there is no reference to Muna whatsoever. Not even item-wise, or at least I have not seen an item that references Muna. I could be wrong, like, again, feel free to chime in if there was an item reference for Muna. But to my knowledge, there's not a reference to Muna, so that kind of ups her chances of being selected into a playable character, because there's very little references of her. Would be cool too, a moon character. Anya is an item, so it's kind of a notable one, but who knows, that could change. Heck, even her item could be like a reference to a hint at her playstyle. She like set up daggers that attack on her own as she approaches you and stuff. Like she sets up daggers and just continues to pressure as the daggers cover her and stuff. Who knows? Maybe that could be a possible thing. But we don't know. Just speculating at the point. Holo Throw? Holo Hero. That's Hero, sorry. Zeta, Kayla, and Kobo. Zeta is ample room, because being a secret agent, know that could be pretty cool to turn into a playable character or assist. Kayla is a random event in Virtual Frontier, and she also has an item as well, I think. And Kobo doesn't have an item to my knowledge, but there's probably like a visual reference, maybe somewhere in RedMaize or even some other places. But if not, there you go. We have another ample character choice. There isn't really a reference to Kobo somewhere. Okay, Holomyth, Kali, Ina, and Gura. personally, out of the three, I do think Kelly has a much better shot versus Ina and Gura. I'm not counting Ame because again, we already met. There's plenty of references to Ame. She's a vendor. She's an assist. But Callie has a poster in the Broadway stage, and because she has such a interest in fighting games, I think it'd be really cool for her to be selected to be in the game because of her interest in fighting games. So that would be really cool if she could be selected, and having a side character implemented into a fighting game, that'd be pretty cool. Can't go wrong with that. Ina, she has items that represent her. Ao-chan and Dr. Oopsie, I believe, is two references to her. But again, they're just items. They're not necessarily an immediate rollout for characters. And Gura also has an item as well in Virtual Frontier. But outside of that, I don't know. Oh, she has a poster as well. That's right. Even has a poster. Iris. I think there's an item referencing Iris, to my knowledge. Other than that, there isn't that many references. Again, that kind of helps with amplifying her choice. It also should be interesting. Maybe, as I mentioned earlier, with like Akai Hato having like a stance change, maybe you could switch between her angel and demon form, giving like a buff for both attack or defense, depending on which form she's in. I think that'd be pretty cool as a character, like a character kit. I think that'd be pretty cool, and learning which one to lean on in any given time. That'd be pretty cool, and sort of a personal hope as well, because I love Iris. Holo Council, Fauna, Crony, Bay, and Sana. Fauna has an item, Crony is an event, Bay is also an event, and Sana has an item reference, but it's to her mascot rather than herself specifically. But that's, again, just items, just random events, doesn't necessarily rule them out. If Bay were a character, she would have an item throw like Faust. Yeah, that would be pretty much on point, honestly. And she could have like a reference to her song Roll Dice, and like it's all about random chance and everything. So that would be right up the alleyway, honestly. Oh yeah, that's everything I've noted down in terms of what references I can understand. So I think maybe if I had a top 3 pick on like who has a likely chance, even though there's only technically 2 slots left, would be probably just these two, honestly. Choco Sensei and Noelle, honestly. They both have pretty ample... Actually, maybe not Choco Sensei, just Noelle and maybe even Iris. Those two would be pretty likely candidate to be selected as characters. Everyone else has chances at being assists and stuff. But I think Noelle and Iris, in my opinion, has a bit of a better shot versus everyone else. But that is my opinion, after all. But yeah, that's my sort of list. And my 2 predictions, as I say, is Noelle and Iris. Leaning more so on, yeah, just those two. Those are the 2 I kind of like lean on more so than anything. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. More likely that I'm wrong, and I'll just be happily surprised on on their selection, on Best of Game Team's selection. I wholeheartedly trust them who they want to